All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Ty from Lambda School, and today I'll be going over rock, paper, scissors. So let's go here. Do it like this. All right, that'll have to do. All right, cool. So how did you guys feel about this coding challenge? Let's emote on this message, this messages, checks and X's, and then CS1, this message. Let's do the checks and the X's. All right. Pretty across the board. Let's take a look. All right, awesome. Did anyone write their code recursively? I know Julian said he did. Okay, cool. So there's the easy solution and then there's the hard solution, right? Let's code the easy one out first. The triple for loop. Does anyone know what the time complexity on a triple for loop is? So a for loop nested inside a for loop nested inside a for loop.
I'm going to go with exponential on that.
Exponential?
Bad. We'll go with bad.
Bad is a solid answer. Oh, went to the third. Yeah, so exponential. Right. Cool. So let's whip that out real quick. So we know we need a few things. We need an array to hold all the other answers, which are also arrays of items. We need an answer container. We need a list of rock, papers, an array of strings, rock, paper, scissor. And then we need to iterate through all three. So need to iterate all three. Oh, let's break it down further. So we need to iterate in each of our for loops. We need to iterate the first one, the first part of the array. So here what we can do is we can start by constructing an array of, say, let's say scissors, and then we can pass that down. And then we can also do an array of rock. So like basically the first iteration will give you the first answer. So like you see how it's got rock, 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 rock for all the first one. And then the second one is rock, rock, rock. And the third one is rock, paper, scissors. So that's I. So I is equal to 0 there. J is equal to 0 there. And then K is equal to 0, 1, and 2. So rock is 0, paper is 1, scissors 2, right? So then inside that for loop, we need to iterate the second part of the array. So dot, 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 comma, scissors, comma, and then inside the second for loop, we need to iterate the second part of third part of the array. So item, item, you probably don't need that actually. And then scissors. And then once we generate all three, then we need to push to answers. After for loop tango, return array. So the downsides of this, we can only ever generate 3 rounds. So if we want to do more rounds, we'd have to write another for loop and we'd have to edit the code. Where is n in the number of items in the array? A 3-round game will generate n to the third possible combinations. Yeah, so n will be the number of items in our array, and that's the lowercase n. So when we have down here, so when O of n to the third is written, n is array of strings dot length. All right. Cool. This message, check if I've lost you, X if you're still with me. So on this message, check if you're lost, X if you're still with me. All right, solid. All right, can we turn those checks into questions? Okay. You guys can always PM it to me if you don't want to message it in public chat. All right, anyways, we'll get started with the coding. So const answer equals an empty array. Const choice is going to equal rock, paper, scissors. All right, and then we need to iterate. So for let I equals 0, I less than choice dot length, I plus plus. For let j equals 0, j less than choice dot length j plus plus, for let k equals 0, k less than choice dot length k plus plus, answer dot push array, and then we're going to do choice bracket comma, and then we're going to do I, J, K. I'm just kidding. All right, sorry about that. All right, and then we want to make sure that we're outside of our for loop, and then we go return answer. So now let's see if it works. Run. Rock, 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 paper, rock, rock, scissors. So you see I's 0 all the way down till the first one is over. So right here. So there should be 9 solutions in here with all rock starting. And then in each of those 9, there's going to be 3 of the second, where it's rock, 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 paper, 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 scissor, scissor, scissor. And then in the third for loop, we have rock, paper, scissor, rock, paper, scissor, rock, paper, scissor, right? Does that make sense, y'all? All right. Cool. And then after that, we have our paper, 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 paper. No, that's scissors, that's paper. So you'll see here, paper, paper, paper. Paper is going to be on this set of 9 because now I is going to equal 1. And so the first one is going to be 9. So the first for loop will happen 9 times in a row. So 9 of rock, then 9 of paper, then 9 of scissor. And then inside of that 9, 3 of those will be rock, 3 of them will be paper, 3 of them will be scissor. And then in each of those 3, you'll get 1 rock, 1 paper, and 1 scissor. Cool. All right. Does anyone who wrote it using recursion want to share their code? No? Okay, let's take a look at mine. Let's do this first. I'm gonna paste my non-recursive answer. Do that. And do this. Let's take a look at my recursive answer. Cool. So for recursion, we still sort of have the same thing. What I opted to do was I opted to write a function inside the function. And that's that function entirely. So you'll see we still have the same things. We have a results box, which I called answer above. And then we had choices, which I called choice up there. And then I wrote a function, const find choices. And so what I'm doing here is I'm taking in two things. I'm taking rounds left, which is going to be a number. And here's my base case. And then rounds played is going to be an array. And so you would invoke it the first time with rounds, which is going to be the number put in up here at the top. So we funnel that into find choices as a function, and then we pass it an array as a base case. All right, so let's look at what the function itself is doing. Our base case says, all right, if rounds left is equal to 0, then in the results array, we're going to push our rounds played, which is going to be our rock, 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 paper, rock, rock, scissor, rock, scissor, rock, rock, scissor, paper, rock, scissor, scissor, rock, paper, rock, rock, paper, scissor, rock, paper, paper. Okay, cool. So if it's 0, then we push it to the answer. Otherwise, we will run the for loop, which is the same thing. And then our first choice is going to be 0, 1, or 2. And then when we call it for 0, we run it with rounds run left, or excuse me, rounds left, and that becomes 2. And our first array starts with choice. And then once rounds played gets to the bottom, just hits return. Sorry, it gets pushed to the results array, and then it just breaks it, and it goes to the next one. So let's just make sure that it works first. So if we do run, we do get the same response. So it looks like it's functional, but it's really quick to break your code. So, you know, if you were to write a 6 or a 7, I'm pretty sure my Chrome would crash in there. And recursion is kind of convoluted for this, unless you specifically need to be able to write how many rounds of rock, paper, scissors you want. My first time I did this, I actually turned it in using triple for loops because I couldn't wrap my head around recursion at the time. Does anyone have any questions at this point on this message? X, or check if you've got, or if you're good to go. X if you have questions. Check if you're good to go. X if you still have questions. Same thing. It's still, yep. So this is a function. So it's a function inside a function. It's calling itself, so yes, it is being called back. I don't know. Ryan, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, but it's pretty noisy where I'm at right now. Let me just jump up into my office. What's the question?
So for my recursive solution, I don't know if you were watching.
Yes.
Okay, so this is its own callback, right? It calls back itself, so it is a callback?
No, so a callback is basically a function that takes a parameter. So the function that you pass a function to, that function that gets passed is the callback, right? So this is just a recursive function, a function that calls itself.
Right. So it is not a callback because you don't pass a function anywhere.
If you're passing a function as a parameter, as an argument, then that function is going to be used at, and supplied to the callback. Okay,
Right.
so that's kind of the idea of passing functions around as parameters.
Right. So it is not a callback function. It's just a function inside a function. Thanks, Ryan. Do I have any other questions? Does anyone want to share their code? Well, all right. Thank you for your time, guys and girls and everyone in between. I'll catch you around later.